I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Forgive me the spirit to do this lesson. This lesson is going into being squeezed, okay? Being squeezed on every side, all right? Because the more you go in this truth and you strive and you fight and you go through different battles, man, you know, these different levels that you come to fight these different demons that come your way, man, you feel squeezed and more squeezed and more squeezed, meaning it becomes more dangerous. And that's the truth of the matter, man. All right? It becomes very, 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 very dangerous. And either you're going to have the tools to be able to deal with the danger, or the danger going to overwhelm you because, you know, the world has got your attention to the point where you can't even fight that hard. You know what I'm saying? You can't even fight that tough because there's too much stuff going on. All right? And Salaki, I've been sick with the flu the past week, so now I'm back trying to get my groove back, so to speak, trying to get my consistency back and get this energy up. So, hey, call out Yahweh Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rakah Kodash for healing me. So, back to the lesson. Let's start at 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, start at verse 1 from the top. It says, "And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me an angel, which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my God. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great." Now that sea is talking about the kingdom of heaven. Okay, you're going to see that as I keep reading, man. It said it is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. Verse 4. "But put the case the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it," right? That kingdom, to rule that kingdom. "If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and it is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall." You hear that? So that narrow entrance is dangerous, okay? Meaning you feel real squeezed in this narrow place, all right? Meaning from all sides, okay? From all sides, you feel very squeezed. It's dangerous. Like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. Now that's dangerous, okay? Because you're walking right in between it. You have the fire on one side, you have the deep water on the other side, man. Now, if that ain't dangerous, I don't know what that is, man. You can drown on one side, and you can burn up alive on the other. Okay, but you're right between it. You being squeezed by it. It's very close to you. Okay? Very, very, very close to you. Which goes into Psalm 23, verse 4. Let me get that real quick, and I'll go back to this chapter. Psalm chapter 23, verse 4. "Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." Right, the shadow of death is following you, man. It's right there upon you, man. Okay? So though you walk through that, that narrow path, all right? That narrow, narrow path that's death all around you, meaning you're squeezed on all sides, all right? "So though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." Right. All right. So though you feel squeezed and you feel more squeezed and more squeezed, and it's getting difficult in this truth, very difficult. All right. The only way to deal with this is through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, through the faith in having no fear, but fearing Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Okay. It's not, it makes it a lot harder to stay on that tightrope if you're distracted by all kinds of shit and you know, entertained by everything else, man. You're going to be really staggering, man. You might just completely fall off, you know. And I ain't talking about a righteous man fall 7 times to get back up again. I'm talking about done. That's how dangerous it is, man. That's how dangerous. All right. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras, chapter 7. Let's go back to verse 7. "The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall." Right, the shadow of death. All right. like as there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small, you hear that? So small that there could but one man go there at once. So it's very small, and that's what we're dealing with, man. That's the reality of what we're dealing with. We really don't have time for games. We don't have time to be so distracted when we're walking in this thin spot, man, this thin place, okay? On this tightrope, man. It said it's very thin, meaning you're squeezed on all sides, okay? So that lets you know that, man, whoo-wee. I mean, this is not a good place that we're in. That's why we got to have our hope game up, our prayer game up to Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, and it has to be very serious, and it has to grow to be more serious and more serious and more serious. Why? Because that spot is going to get more tighter and more tighter as you reach different levels in this truth. Okay, you deal with different levels of demons. Okay, deeper waters. Okay, flames that are bigger. Okay, flames that are a lot bigger. Okay, so those flames are going to grow on one side, and the deep water is going to get deeper and deeper, man. Okay, meaning that whole situation, this whole situation we in, is going to get more dangerous and more dangerous and more dangerous. And that's a fact. All right, let's go to verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass through the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Right, so we have to go through this narrow path. We have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. All right, and it gets more dangerous and more dangerous, man. Okay, because as you walk through the narrow path and you finally make it to the final entrance, meaning to get to the kingdom of heaven, okay, that path gets more dangerous and more dangerous. It ain't going to get lighter. No, it's going to get heavier, man. The situation is going to get heavier all the way to Jacob's trouble, okay, which is the worst time that's going to be ever in history. So that lets you know right there that entrance, that narrow path ain't no joke. So you think we think we like, oh shit now, man. Just imagine, man. So how can you get ready for that? Well, you really got to be single-minded on a whole nother level, man. That takes you trimming different things off and really focusing, man. Hitting the reset button and really examining yourself. You got to examine what time it is and what you're doing. What has your attention, what has your time, et cetera, et cetera. All those things have to be examined for you to really zero in on this, man. Okay, because you can't change that we're in a dangerous spot. You can't change that this is the valley of the shadow of death. You have to walk through it to get to the kingdom of heaven. Period. No way around it. All right? Verse 10. And I said, is it so, Lord? Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. Right, man. Okay, the world, man. Okay, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that is now done. Right, verse 12. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. Ooh, that they are but few and evil, full of perils, and very painful. Right. Very painful, man. So we know what we're dealing with, man. We're dealing with a painful situation, that's suffering that we got to deal with, man. Okay, evil days, travail, madness. It's what we dealing with, man, this narrow path. But we got to keep walking down the narrow path to get to the entrance, man, to get to that deep, rich place full of good things. Okay, we got to jump over all kinds of things, man, and climb over this and crawl under that just to get there. All right? It wasn't designed to be easy. It wasn't designed to be easy, but guess what? The elect are going to overcome. Just like Yahweh Shah overcame, the elect men are going to overcome, and they're going to find a way. And at times they're going to be on their knees, man, like, woo, Lord, please. But they're going to find a way, man. So if you think you believe you're a man of the Lord, you believe you one of the hopeful elect, and you're striving, just find a way. It's going to take prayer, a lot of prayer, fervent prayer, man, and doing the work to receive that mercy so the Lord can guide you through your troubles. All right. so that your prayers are heard. All right. Let's end it on these scriptures. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, meaning difficulty, okay, and narrow is the way, right, the shadow of death, the valley of the shadow of death, that's what we dealing with, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Right, man. Few there be that find it. But let me tell you, you find it, man. Woo-wee. So we have found the way. We have found the path. We just have to walk down it and not give up, you know. But the difficult thing about this truth is that the things that are set in our way in that narrow path is very dangerous, okay? And it could wear you out to the point where you do give up if you allow the world to have your strength, if you allow the world to take your strength, your mind. See, your strength is your mind. I'm talking about your physical muscles, your spiritual muscles. Okay, because Satan's job is to go around and take your spiritual strength, okay, to put your mind on bullshit and entertainment and this and this and that. So when he's whooping your ass on the other side and you walking down that path, you know, it's hard to really walk down that path because you don't have the energy to spiritually fight, because he set traps to take your mind. So you got to be very, 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 very careful. Okay? Very, very, very careful, man. So I hope this lesson really makes you think, okay, makes you meditate and understand that, hey, we are not in a good situation, but we are in a beautiful situation at the same time, because we got faith and hope in Yahweh Shema Shai, man. So hold on to that crown and continue to walk down that narrow path no matter what's in your way. Overcome it, climb through it, whatever you got to do, man. Believe in Yahweh Shema Shai, and he will guide you through. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash, for giving the spirit to this lesson. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you, Akim, that is doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.